Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about temp tables and how you can use them straight from T-SQL. There's a couple of different types of things that we need to go over. The first one is just a really simple example. We're going to do select star into this temp table we're going to call drifter because it's temporary, fly by night, from the customer type table. Then we're just going to do a select star from drifter. So basically when we do that, we're just going to see some, the guts of a table. Nothing real exciting. Whoops, let me just pick the right database, which would be Acme. Here we go. And so here we have it. Now the first thing that you need to know, and you may already be aware of this, because temp tables are temporary, but they do persist for a little while. And this table that we just created, even though it's not in the Acme database, it is going to be in the temp database. For example, if I go here, see we just created this table called drifter. Now if you notice in the tooltip, it has this enormous name, and we won't spend a lot of time on that, but that's just basically how SQL Server keeps track of it, because 10 different people can be in different databases and all create a temp table named drifter, which would all go into this directory, so it has to keep them separate. All you have to know is that's what the name is. You don't really care what the long, silly, Latin name that it gives to it that looks more like a network diagram. But now, here's the thing, because this table is alive right now, as long as this connection is open, and by that I mean this window, if I shut down this window right here, this table goes poof. Doesn't matter that I'm still in SQL Server Management Studio, makes no difference. Now, if I go to run this again, it's going to die. We're going to get an error, and the reason why is because there's already this table in the database. So what you would have to do, if you wanted to run through this several times, now you wouldn't just normally do that on a Saturday afternoon because there's nothing on the tube. The reason, and let me just run this real quick to clean it out. Okay, Junior's gone. Now, basically, you wouldn't just run this just for no reason unless you're playing around. But the reason why you would do this, you might be putting stuff in a temp table, doing some other funny stuff with it, maybe throwing it into another table and all that kind of stuff, but you're in a loop. You may be doing it, however many times. So you would have to create the table and then drop the table in succession. Now here, I can do this over and over and over and over and over for the rest of my life, but I probably won't. So that's the first thing. Because of the persistence, you have to remember there's times where you have to drop the table. Now, you notice here, we're just doing a select star. So when we do that, this table, we don't have to really define it. It knows that there's a CT key, and it knows what all the fields are and what the order is, and it just basically copies this over here. So when we do that, and by the way, this key field is just an int. It's not really going to keep the primary key. But here's something else interesting that you need to know when it comes to this stuff. If I wanted to, this would be a little more work, and programmers don't usually go this route, but you just have to know that this is available. If I wanted to, I could create a table called temp, and I'm not really selecting into it from anything else, but I'm defining it right here. You always have to do this when you're making a table variable, which is a different creature that we get into in more videos. But here, if I wanted to do this, it lets me do it. It's more work. The reason why most guys don't do this is because you're defining it with what's up here. If you're defining it with what's up here, though, and you're not doing a select star, or you're selecting from several tables with a lot of joins, if you do a select star, you're going to have more fields than you can possibly know what to do with. So instead of that, you might actually, in your select statement, you might have the different fields from the different tables that you're calling, or that you're including, or that you're selecting, and that you may also be massaging them, like, setting the format and all that kind of happy stuff. But generally speaking, lazy programmers, smart programmers, usually do the select star, Now, so those are the two different things that you need to know. You can do a select star, or you can say, no, I want the table to look exactly like this. I want to predefine it. I want to go the extra mile. Great. Here's something else that you can do. You can do basically what we did before, like the select star, except instead of saying select star, I'm just going to say that I want two fields. I just want the display and the description. The table could be ginormous. There could be hundreds of fields, probably not hundreds, but definitely like 60 or 70. A lot of garbage in there that we don't care about, and there might be a million records. So we're just going to take the two fields that we want, because we'll say that for performance, we don't want to have to go out and make a sandwich, get a coffee, wash the car and come back before it's finished. So in this case, we just say, yeah, just give me these two fields, and now this table called Drifter, right now, just has this. It doesn't have the other fields, it doesn't care, it's totally oblivious. Last but not least, if you want to really have some fun, you can do this. You know, you can say, here are the different fields I want, put them into the table Drifter. I just indented it so it's a little easier on the eyes and it didn't go off the screen. But now I'm doing a where clause, you know, where it says where the display is not equal to other. So basically it's going to eliminate this record the next time we populate this table. And there you go. So basically when you're creating a temp table, you can basically fill it whichever way you want. You can pre-design it or define it. You don't need to. Nobody does. Cool people don't. And then you can just kind of whittle away and say these are the records I want and so forth. And I think that might be it for this section. Yes. So there you go. Those are the basics of a temp table right from TSQL.